what are we going to make? Melomakarona. Can you say that?
Melomakarona.
Melomakarona. And we're going to make it together?
Yes.
So we're going to start this recipe with a saucepan and a whole orange cut in half. And to this you're going to add 500 ml of water, 3 cinnamon sticks, between 3 and 5 cloves, 800 grams of sugar, and I know that looks like loads, but you don't actually use all of this syrup, so don't worry. And then just give it a mix, and then you're going to put this on a medium heat until it starts to boil. And when it does start to boil, you're going to leave it for about a minute or less than, and then just turn it off because it will be ready. You also need to get ready 150 grams of honey, but you'll add this to the syrup after it's boiled. You'll now need a mixing bowl and 400 grams of sunflower oil, 180 grams of olive oil, 400 grams of orange juice. I use fresh orange juice. Then add 50 grams of icing sugar. Add between 2 and 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. I would go for 3. 1 flat teaspoon of nutmeg and 1 teaspoon of soda. Finally, you need the grated rind of 2 more oranges. And then in your second mixing bowl, 1 kilo of plain flour. Yes, that's a whole bag of flour, but trust me, you won't regret it. Mixed with 200 grams of fine semolina. So then you will have your syrup that's cooling down and your 2 mixtures. So I usually try and prep all that, and then I get my toddler involved, and she loves mixing. So here you can see her mixing in the flour and the semolina, and then all you have to do is pour one bowl into the other. Once the syrup has finished boiling, just take it away from the heat. You can see I've put it onto a little mat to cool down, and add in the honey and give it a good stir, and then you'll have to just let this cool down for a couple of hours. And the smells in your house after making this syrup are just amazing. It just smells like Christmas. You've got all the herbs in there, and soon you have some amazing cookies to eat as well. And then your toddler's going to love this even more. They get to put their hands right inside, so you can put your hand in and mix it up, but you do not want to over mix. That's the only thing. If you were doing it on your own, I would say mix for about 10 seconds. It's that little. You just want to fold it all in together and try not to squash it, because if you squash it too much or mix it too much, then all the oil separates from the rest of the ingredients and you won't have crunchy cookies. Yeah, I had to give her a little hand here because she needed a bit of help scraping the flour away from the side of the bowl. And don't worry if you think it doesn't look 100% mixed in. If you can see some little patches, that's fine. It's better to be slightly under mixed than over mixed in this case. And then you need to grab your baking tray. So just get a baking tray and line it with some parchment paper. And you're going to take out little pieces of the dough, roughly 30 grams each. I actually placed a little scale next to us and checked each one, because every time I make these I always make them too big and I forget how much they expand. So the cooking time always varies. You want to try and make them all roughly the same size so that they all cook properly. Roll it up into a ball and then roll it along your hands a little bit more to make it into a bit of an oblong shape, and that's the traditional shape of the Melomakarona. And Bella had so much fun, and she was even guessing the weights of the little bits of dough that she was putting on the scales. So if you do have a preschooler or an older toddler, you could even get them to look at the numbers on the scales and practice finding 30 grams. And it's also great because there's no raw eggs in this mixture, so if your child decides to eat it, it's fine. So when you're laying these out on the baking tray, you want to leave at least 2 centimeters between each one. I forgot to say as well, you will need to preheat your oven, if it's a fan oven, on 190 degrees. And once your oven is ready and you've got your first tray of cookies ready to bake, put them in the oven and then set a timer for 20 minutes because mine only took 20 to 22 minutes. Sometimes they can take up to 25 minutes if you've gone slightly larger, but 20 minutes usually mine are ready. And if you want to check, take them out after 20 minutes and just have a feel. If they feel crunchy, then they are ready, and if they've got a little brown colour, they are definitely ready. And then what you will do once you've taken them out of the oven is, using a slotted spoon, scoop the cookies out of the baking tray and sit them in the cold syrup. And that's important. The cookies have to be hot and the syrup has to be cold. And I forgot to actually take out all the floaties in the syrup, but it does help if you actually take out the orange and the cinnamon sticks first. And then you've got more space to put the cookies in. And you want to leave the cookies in there for between 10 to 15 seconds, but don't panic if they're in there a bit longer. It really doesn't matter. But they do need at least 10 seconds so that they can suck in some of that syrup. And then you'll just have to put them on another baking tray or somewhere else to cool. Once you've dipped all your cookies, you can either do this straight away or let them cool down first. I tend to do it straight away because I find it helps the honey spread over the cookie. Is you take some warm honey and you drizzle it over the top of the cookies and then put your ground walnuts on the top. You can use almonds or walnuts. I sometimes use a mix. This time I'm just using walnuts because that's what we had, but either works fine. So this amount of dough made 4 oven trayfuls of these cookies, which does sound a lot, but it's not really once you've given some to a few family members and you've got some for yourself just to keep on the table. You haven't really got much left after that. We took some to Alex's parents today and we've got 1 box of them left now, and they keep for a while in an airtight box or a tin. So you can keep these for a couple of weeks and they'll be absolutely fine. So I hope you enjoyed this different video, and I hope some of you try these cookies because they are so amazing. I remember them from the first year I came to Greece in 2012 and I had them at Christmas. They're something that everyone just has on their tables when you go into their houses. Kind of like how we have snacks on the side and biscuits or crackers. They have Melomakarona. I would definitely recommend trying these. They're so tasty and they just smell and taste just like Christmas. And I'm sure you'll love them. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video and I'll see you again tomorrow.